Erika's scenes this season. Yawn. Honestly, they've been a snooze fest. She's had her shining moments in the past, but this year, not so much. If she left, it might actually stir things up a little, kind of like when Robin dipped out of RHOBH. What's your take? Her main plot this season seems to be decorating her house. Riveting, right? Yeah, not exactly setting the world on fire. Honestly, she'd probably thrive as a friend of at this point. I get the feeling she's playing it safe this year, probably trying to fix her image. Maybe she'll take another year of laying low before jumping back into the drama pool. But I will say this, I love the annual hot dog eating Erika. And let's not forget her confessionals. That weird little head tilt while she sucks on a straw. Hilarious. She's doing it a lot this season, and it cracks me up every time. It's a small thing, but it's like watching a masterclass in sarcasm. Her no-nonsense chat with Dorrit. Solid. She's definitely leaning into the friend role this season, and I'm here for it. There's still hope for her to have her moment again, but for now, it's just not her time. I do wish she'd call Kyle out more though, but Erika's not exactly in her sassiest era anymore. And honestly, I would love to see her hanging out with Jennifer Tilly without Sutton constantly getting in the way. Now that could be a fun vibe. Oh my God. Was that really Scheana Shay? Sweet Lord, please protect us from the horror of her joining the RHOBH cast. Guard my precious love for this franchise from the chaos that is Scheana. In your name, amen. Yep, it was her. And honestly, it made me realize just how tiny Kyle must be in real life. They're practically the same size, and Scheana is about the size of my pinky nail. Also, I'm living for how Erika straight up dismissed Scheana while she was trying so hard to kiss up. Hilarious. I've been rewatching some old RHOBH episodes, and it's actually reminding me of the time when I didn't mind Erika as much. Ah, memories. Is anyone else shocked that Kyle and Mauricio haven't divorced yet? It's pretty wild, considering most of their kids are grown. He's not even living with her, and let's not forget, he swapped out the family photo for one with the woman from Dancing with the Stars. If that's not a sign he's moving on, I don't know what is. Unless, of course, Mauricio already started the divorce talk, but I'm not surprised Kyle hasn't made the move yet. She seems terrified of being alone, no matter how romantic she gets with Morgan. It's just not the same kind of stability she spent decades building, especially after growing up in such a chaotic childhood. But according to Kathy, Mauricio isn't exactly in a position to be handing out settlements. Maybe he expanded his agency too quickly and is now drowning in debt. I wouldn't be shocked if Kyle's hanging on to empty promises. She probably thought his little memoir tribute, "I couldn't have done it without Kyle," was the same thing as a legally binding contract, like that means they're 50/50. Let's be real though, divorce with rich people is way different from divorce with the rest of us. They don't even have a prenup, so this won't be a quick and easy split. On top of that, Mauricio's got a loan situation he's tangled up in. There's a lot more going on than just feelings here. Is it just me, or does this season feel like it was laser-focused on being as manufactured as possible? Between the painfully obvious FaceTime calls, the clunky editing, and the plot lines that scream, "This was planned," it's like we're watching a show that's 90% scripted and 10% real life. Honestly, I haven't genuinely enjoyed an episode this season. Compared to Salt Lake City or Potomac, this feels like a snooze fest. I don't know what they're doing differently with this franchise, but whatever it is, it needs to stop. Everything is just so painfully fake, it's hard to take seriously. The pacing's another issue. Each episode gets dragged out for what feels like forever, then, just when you think you'll get something good, the last 10 minutes bring the only tea. And of course, the preview promises next episode will be all drama and chaos. But guess what? Same thing again. Slow build-up, boring moments, and then a last-minute attempt at some excitement. Where's the drama? If Rinna were still around, we'd be drowning in it by now. But honestly, I think the biggest problem is that none of the women even seem to like each other anymore. And, surprise, surprise, it shows. Oh, Kathy is definitely not oblivious. Honestly, the way these women practically worship her and refuse to acknowledge it is laughable. Of course, Kathy's not clueless. She's way too strategic for that. Credit where it's due, though. Dort gets the gold star for being the only one brave enough to actually say it out loud. It's all about money and power, in case you hadn't noticed. I can't help but remember when Kyle was throwing a tantrum about Kathy years ago, and in a confessional, she casually mentioned how the Hiltons are practically royalty in Beverly Hills. If Kathy doesn't like you, forget about it, you're banned from all the exclusive parties. And apparently, Kathy also has a hand in your fame. So naturally, the real reason these girls keep her around is probably more about her influence than, anything genuine. And then there's the whole incident at the disco where Kathy lost it. Everyone just swept it under the rug. Bravo went into total radio silence about it, which is odd because they never pass up an opportunity to dive into drama. Maybe Kathy's got enough clout to silence even Bravo. I wouldn't be shocked. Sutton really needs to get a grip. It's time for her to take that hefty wallet of hers and invest in some therapy and self-esteem, because, honestly, it's getting ridiculous at this point. At her age, still looking for everyone around her to give her a pat on the back. Seriously, grow up. Stand on your own 2 feet and stop obsessing over the endless circle of validation. Honestly, therapy should be her storyline. After watching those episodes with her mom, I can only imagine the emotional baggage she's carrying around. She's an adult, past middle age, even, and it's just painful to watch. I second that. At this point, she needs to put down the need for constant praise. It's almost pathetic. I swear, even if someone told her, "I'm so proud of you," it still wouldn't be enough. Sutton, look in the mirror for once. Be proud of yourself, because at the end of the day, the only validation that matters is the one you give yourself. Does anyone else think Sutton's awkwardness is starting to look a little too intentional? I mean, sure, she's always been a bit anxious and awkward, and honestly, I get that, but the way she's speaking now, like the cadence, feels like she's really leaning into it. It almost feels like she's trying to be awkward on purpose. Honestly, yeah. I get the same vibe with Kathy's clumsiness, Dort's big mouth, and Erika's bluntness. It's like they all take the parts of their personalities people already notice and amp them up for the show. They definitely notice what gets picked up by the viewers. And with Sutton and Kathy, these quirks could actually come off as relatable, which is a plus for them. You know what I mean? I think it's just a part of being on a reality show, and maybe it's even kind of subconscious. Someone in the sub suggested that Sutton was low-key trying to say she's rich enough to sue Dort if she keeps making comments about Sutton drinking. Maybe that's a stretch, but honestly, who knows? Could be a subtle flex, right? Oh, how heartbreaking. Sutton's mom spent a solid 13 hours at the airport trying to get to her fashion show, but shocker, she couldn't find a flight. If I had Sutton's bank account, I'd have just thrown money at the problem. Private flight, first class, whatever it took to get her there. Sure, they have their issues, but she's elderly, for crying out loud, and she was really trying. I think this all went down during that crazy CrowdStrike glitch last summer, right? You remember the chaos. People couldn't even get gas because credit cards were useless, and they grounded flights. It was like a whole pandemic panic moment. But here's the kicker. It's not just about affording a private jet. Literally no flights were happening. Microsoft's crash took down the entire system, which meant no way to communicate with air traffic control and no access to flight systems. The problem wasn't money, it was that no planes were in the air. Some private jets were even grounded, and let's not forget, everyone with cash to burn was hoarding whatever flights they could charter. I saw social media posts where stranded passengers were grouping together to book a plane. So honestly, there probably wasn't anything available, no matter how deep Sutton's pockets are. Kathy's comments about Kyle's soon-to-be ex. Well, not quite yet ex, but whatever, did she just drop a bomb or what? She casually said, Mal isn't in the financial place to pay someone off. Excuse me, what? Isn't he supposed to be rolling in cash? That's a bold statement. So, naturally, I had to do a little digging. I can't just let that slide. A quick Google search, which we all know is, like, 50% fact, 50% rumors, suggests he might be in hot water over some PPP loans he took out during COVID. Apparently, he misled officials about his financial situation. And tax liens. But when you look at his reported net worth, the amounts he's allegedly tangled up with, barely a blip on the radar. So, yeah, not exactly the financial disaster Kathy's implying. But here's the kicker. Could this be why Kyle might be hesitating on the divorce? Maybe it's not just the 30 years together, but also the financial mess behind the curtain that's got him spooked. Someone needs to spill the real tea here, Kathy. Kathy's always calculating, and it's pretty clear she's been waiting for Kyle to pull the plug on this marriage. Why? Because the minute that happens, she's gonna spill every last secret she's been holding onto about Mauricio. Let's be real, Kathy has hated Mauricio ever since he bailed on Rick's company. And let's not forget, Mal has enough cash to pay off anyone he pleases. Why bother, though, when he's got free reign to do whatever he wants? The Kyle hate train. I just started season 14, and I'm honestly struggling to get why she's the villain here. She doesn't exactly do anything the others aren't doing. If the issue is her not talking about her marriage until last season, so what? Maybe she was still figuring things out. Dorit and Erika kept secrets about their marriages too, but I guess we just pretend those don't count. And if it's about her not immediately coming clean about Morgan, well, surprise, surprise, some LGBTQ+ folks don't feel the need to announce everything on day one. I'm just not getting the outrage. If Kyle had just left her co-stars alone and not tried to pry into their lives like she's auditioning for CSI, Real Housewives, maybe people wouldn't be so triggered by her wanting some privacy. But hey, if Denise Richards, LVP, Sutton, or even her own sisters don't get to have peace or privacy, why should she expect it? It's clear as day that Kyle's playing some sort of behind-the-scenes game. She's the queen of telling everyone to be open and honest, while she's out there pulling the strings in the background. Classic Kyle, rules for thee, not for me. And of course, she does it all with that perfect sly smile, watching everyone else squirm. Kyle's opening tagline, "Oh please." I'm sorry, but every one of their taglines is cringeworthy, but Kyle. This season, she's basically a walking narcissist, and her tagline just adds fuel to that fire. I can't help but roll my eyes every time she's on screen. She acts like she's the only housewife who's allowed to have feelings or problems. Newsflash, honey, we all do. Honestly, I wish they'd just scrap the taglines altogether. They're all so ridiculously cheesy, and I can't buy into any of them, Kyle included.